Welcome back to 2020 virtual Keshet Eilon master course, and today we have cello masterclass. For the first 20 years, Keshet Eilon was exclusively violin land, but then violinists started to complain that they're feeling lonely, and they wanted their bigger brothers and sisters to join the Keshet Eilon. And in 2010, the management of the Keshet Eilon took bold decision, and we opened our doors to the other string instruments, and this is a result. We will hear today our first out of 3 cello master classes given by excellent pedagogue cellist Amit Peled.
Hello. Tsuf? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, nice to see you. I'm here in Baltimore, you're in Tel Aviv. What are we going to hear now?
The Allemande, the Sarabande of the second suite by Bach.
Great, so let's all sit back and enjoy it, and then we'll talk and work. Good, bravo, Tsuf. Beautiful playing.
Thank you.
And by magic, now you're in your living room. I don't know how, but that's great. Really beautiful, and you know, we don't have much time. I just want to give you some points that maybe will help you to make it a bit better. You know, always with Bach, as with every composer, but especially with Bach, since we don't have dynamics, we actually don't have the bowings of it. Of course, we don't have a line of people that we can track back, you know, teacher of a teacher of a teacher that can tell us stories of how it was played. So there are so many ways to play it. I always tell my students, you know, if you can please 50% of the audience, you're in good shape with Bach. However, there are three what I call non-negotiable elements that we should really take care of before we talk about matter of taste. And that's, of course, intonation, quality of sound, and sense of pulse. You don't want anybody to say, well, it's beautiful but out of tune, or beautiful but I can't hear I can't understand the pulse. So I want to first touch this point and then to share with you some of my ingredients for the sauce of the salad, not for the main vegetables, which are the three non-negotiable things. So I think even though it's via Zoom, I think that the sound quality is what we can work on first. Intonation is okay, it's another thing that I might want to suggest something. Sense of pulse, I loved it. But first and foremost, the quality of sound. Like my teacher, Bernard Greenhouse, used to say, at the end of the day, you'll be judged by your voice. And there are a few things that can help your sound, even though we have this online connection. I can hear that the cello doesn't ring as much. And the first thing we need to agree upon is the production of sound, which is not in the left hand, I hope you understand. It's in the bow. And what I see in your bow arm is that you play with one angle of the bow. I don't know if you notice it, but basically you put the bow and you always face with your frog, you face the audience. So when you play on A string and you start the note on an A string, it actually sounds pretty good. D string, okay. G and C, it starts to sound a little bit like this, like I call it foo-foo sound. And just to prove the point first without the bow, take your right hand and just put it around the fourth position of the cello. And just drop it down, just naturally, just drop it down. Drop your hand, yeah. Now let's imagine that instead of putting it here, you put it like in the cupboard behind you or in the photo behind you. Okay, reach really high. Now drop it. Yeah, you see, so the further you go in that direction, the bigger the half circle would be. It's just physics. However, the smaller you go, so let's go to C string now. Put your hand like in the C string, yeah, and just drop it. The half circle is much, much smaller, which means that if you take your bow and you hold it like a pole in a gym, hold it like this for a second, and just move it to this side, the other side. Yeah. Now go back and just do like morning exercises, like this. And if you can see what happens to your body, it becomes like what I call a door hinge. See, your hips are starting to move with the bow. Now this is sort of the angle of the four strings on the cello. So you have to be attuned to it. So when you play, look, I'm just going to show you again the C string. If I play the way you play, just the last D of the Sarabande, you play. Now I'm just going to change the direction and not do anything with weight and speed. Swear to God. I mean, it's just a different cello. Now what am I doing? I'm attuned to the physics of the angle of the cello. That's it. So can you take your bow and on C string, can you, with your thumb and pinky, can you do this for a second, just like you have a sword in your hand, and you go back and forth? Good. Now can you do like windshield wipers, sideways? Good. Now can you do this sideways as if you're holding the bow? Just thumb and pinky. Good. Excellent. Never see that when you play. I never see this motion. Now let's point the tip of the bow to the public as if it's a gun and you want to shoot somebody. God forbid. Yeah? Okay, now put it on the C string in the frog, under the silver part. Now bite the string and just bite it and go. Good. A little bit more motion. Can you do a little bit, not just, just move your hand a little bit, but this angle. Good. Now, imagine, I don't know if you ever gone to the Yalcon and row a bow. But if you do that, yeah, if you row a bow, if you go back, it's very hard for your hands, but when you do this motion and you go back, that's really a C-string motion. So to have your hand right here for the C-string, can you try to do a circular motion and put your hand at the end of it? Now go back to the frog. Go back to the frog position and feel that you're rowing a bow with a bow. Good, good. So that's the motion. Now you never do that. You never do it. You always play like this. It just has no sound. Okay? So I want to do an exercise where we play. We're going to activate now our body before we go, and I want to start with the Sarabande, if you don't mind. And let's do this exercise. We're going to play a low C, and then 2 octave higher on the A string, and we're just going to do a few notes. So C, and on a down bow, C on the A string, which is leading by the frog on A string, leading by the tip on the C string. So C string, change the angle of your body, A string. Can you try? Yeah, good. I believe you don't have an external mic, no? You don't have an external mic to your... Yeah, I can hear that. Anyway, we'll try to imagine the sound, because normally I suggest if you can have an external mic, these days it's sort of common just to get the sound better. You're doing it now with your hands, you're not doing it with your body. Can I see that your door hinge, the door hinge, is really changing? So you're leading the motion with your hips. Try. Try. Yeah. So, concentrate for a second. Imagine that somebody is pushing your body backwards to this direction, to the right side, and then they push you to the left side. So you roll the sound backwards, and then you go the other direction. Yeah? So your body becomes the angle of the strings of the cello. Try. Good. Good. You can do much more of it, but let's now try to apply it to the Sarabande. When you play the D, the first D, let's say that the borderline between G and D string is where you start changing the angle of the bow. So when you play the D, the first D, I would change, you see, I'm changing the angle as I go with the bow. Now, to receive the D on the chord and to really bite it, well, I turn my body on the up bow, turning. Now I'm turning the bow. Yeah, you do this. Now you're working hard, you're very talented and musical, so you're vibrating a lot, trying to get the sound, or you're pressing a lot. But you're not tuned to how you can make the sound, like I can call it solar energy, just by tuning the bow. And I'm talking about millimeters. Now, tip to the public. Change. Again, tip. For this chord. my sitting bones are totally activated when I play. When you play, it's like a sculpture. You just... So, can you try once just to experiment with this body and sound connection? Can you try, please? Bravo, bravo, bravo. How does it feel?
Much better.
Much better. So I want to take you even further back to just human motions. This kind of motions is something that we do always in life. I mean, if you grab your iPhone from the table and you put it back on the side of your bed or something, whatever, this motion, we do it all day long. We never think about it. But, you know, frog on A string to tip on C string, it's a totally different physicality of the body. And if you will be more tuned to it, and in your playing, you will get much more core to your sound just by doing that. So a really good exercise to get to know that, what I call door hinge, is to play a scale up and down on the cello, going from C and A string. It's very, very good exercise. You can do it on down bows or up bows. Yeah? Now, next point that is also connected to sound quality. Overtones. Our cello has natural overtones. I call it like tickling points. You know, like persons that you know really well, you know, like here or whatever it is, always there's a point that if you touch, it's like, ah! You jump. Cello has the same thing. There are notes on the cello, and I call them the 4 pillar notes. You know what's pillars? Like amudim. Yeah, the 4 pillars of sound. And the 4 are our strings. A, D, G, and C. Do, sol, la, re. Why? Because that's what we have. If we would have an E, we would also have the E. Now, every time you touch one of those 4 notes, the cello must feel like this. And when you play, it doesn't, because you're blocking it. So even the first D, yes, of course you can vibrate it, you can do the angle, but if you're not exactly on the point that makes the cello tickle and ring, the D string will not feel the tickling. Yeah? So there are a few ways to do it, but the first and foremost important way is to play it in tune. So let's go what I call overtone walk. Okay, let's go for a little walk of the cello. Play first D with second finger. And I know it's not allowed, but look at the cello and see that your D string is really moving like crazy, just by the angle, the movement, and the placement of the left hand. You see, like, try. I can't see it, and I can't hear it because of the external mic, but can you at least show me a motion that is not like, just a little bit more rounder motion? Thank you. Now, very good. Very good. Now play the low D. And because of placement and motion, I want to imagine, I can't see it or hear it now, but imagine that the A string is also ringing. The A string has to move as well, so look at it and make sure it rings. Good. So now, let's start the Sarabande and let's see, and I want you to look now. I know it's not allowed when we play cello, but now I want you to use a sense of eyes, the looking side, just to see that the string that's supposed to be tickled is actually tickled. And don't vibrate now. Let the cello do it by itself. Now this D, I want to see the A string moving. Can you try? Talk to your instrument and see if you can tickle it on the D and the A string. Yeah, so for all the chords that play. That's the third point I want you to think about. Yeah, we talked about angle of the cello, angle of the body. We talked about overtone. Each point obviously takes more than 5 minutes, but that's the nature of Masterclass. The third point out of only 4 that I will bother you with today is how to play chords. You are playing chords like Karate Kid. You know the movie? Yeah? So you have at least 2 speeds for a chord. You do 2 motions for a chord. You do this. I wouldn't even do it in Elgar. Many cellists do it in Elgar. No, please don't do that, because by doing the second motion of the karate, you're killing the first one. This is a very aggressive, and you kill the overtones. So when you play a chord on the cello, hopefully also on violin and viola and double bass, think of 1 circular motion, 1 speed. 1 speed. So I don't want to hear a hole between the 2 lower string and then the 2 upper strings. You do this. Can you do like in Elgar? 1 speed. Yeah, you do. Don't do that, please. So, can you do once just open strings, the lower 3 strings? And move the body with the 1 motion bow. Can you try? No. No, you do if I put letters to your chord, it's 2 T's. Ta-tam, ta-tam. You do this. Ta-tam. And I would like to see if you can do wham, wham, W-A-M, wham, wham, or P-A-M, pam, pam, but not ta-tam. Try. Better. Now, you do it beautifully with your elbow and with your palm of the hand and fingers. Can you do it also with your lower back, with your hips? Yeah? Can you try? No, now you do this. Sorry, Tsuf. No, you do this. You go the opposite direction. Can you go with the bow? Judge it with your ears. You will hear that it sounds much more like an organ in a cathedral rather than 2 kids fighting in karate fight. Try. No, you're doing 2 motions. Sorry. No. Tsuf, you're doing this. Ta-tam. Ta-tam. Concentrate. 1 motion. 1 motion. That's it. Thank you very much. That's it. Now try with the chord. Try with the chord. Thank you. Now play the beginning with overtones, with body movement, and with nice 1-speed chord. All 3 elements, please. Good. Tsuf. Bravo. How does it feel?
Easier.
Good. Excellent. Sounded much better. Even without the external mic, I can imagine that it's much better sounding in your living room now. But it really does sound better, looks better. And as a great violin teacher, Galamian, used to say, if it looks better, it's probably sounding better. So I always remind myself this during this time of Zoom lessons and online lessons, what Galamian used to say. If it looks human, if it looks beautiful, it probably sounds beautiful. So even if I can't hear it, I believe it now because it is better. Okay, for the Allemande. What nationality this dance is?
German,
And Sarabande?
Spanish.
Good. So you did your homework. I just wanted to make sure. But you know that the bowings, we just don't have his own bowings. We have his wife, his student, but not his. I once heard speculation by musicologists that I like to believe in, because he mentioned that, you know, Anna Magdalena Bach, which we have the edition, they had 20 kids. Now you can imagine what it means. Maybe you can imagine, I know what to have 3 kids, not 20. But when you have kids in a house, and you have to cook all day, and to clean, and to organize everything, and to make sure everybody's doing their homework, and so on, and then at night, you go to the attic upstairs and you start copying with a candle, not with electricity, and sometimes it's really cold or really hot, and you sit there at midnight, you know, with your eyes half closed, and you start copying. How accurate would that be? This is just one opinion that I read. Having a family now and having life, I can sort of attune to it, which emphasized my point that I wouldn't take it like it's a Bible, her bowings. Even more so, when you talk to Baroque players and you listen to Baroque music, you realize that most of the expression is in the articulation, in the bow. And there are so many variations on how to use the bow. But what I want to do with you, because we don't have much time, I want to give you 5 options. 5 options of bowings for 4 notes in a row. And I want to do sort of a jam session. You know what's a jam session? So I want to do with you a little Baroque jam session of bowings, and to see if you can actually, God forbid, improvise the bowings in the Allemande. So the first option would be 4 separate notes. Okay? Second option would be 2 and 2. Third option would be 3 and 1. Fourth option would be 1 and 3. And fifth option would be 4 in a bow. And I want you now to play it slow once, and let's see if you can just walk around those options. 5 options only. Do it very slow. Maybe 2 and 2. 1 and 3. Whatever. I'm not saying that this would be the way you play, but I want you to free up your mind from the really restrict bowings that many times get you to the tip and to be glued to the string, and to be much more talkative with the bow with those 5 options. So do it one slow. First, play the 5 options. Separate, 2 and 2, 3 and 1, 1 and 3, 4 in a bow. Try. Well, first, just do it like I do. Tsuf. Tsuf, wait, just play this. And then 2 and 2. I just want to see that you know all the language that we have now, which is only 5 words. Good, now really slow. Yum, ti da 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 di da dum. Really that slow. Okay, and I want to see if you can literally improvise. Tell me a story with those 5 options. Okay, Tsuf. I just didn't stop you because I enjoyed it. So.
Like challenging because it's improvising, and so my like
So.
improvising articulations, which is not my comfort zone.
Speciality. Yeah. I highly suggest, first of all, it was much more interesting for me to listen to. I know that when I play a Bach suite and I think in that way, it's more interesting for me as a player. I always tell a story with it. That leads me really to the last thing that we have to work on, but this was so much better. And I highly recommend that you practice those 5 options in a 2-octave scale. So you just do a scale, let's say D minor, and you do 2 and 2. Yeah, or you do 3 and 1. Can you do it once? Go up with 2 and 2 and go back with 3 and 1. Yeah, and remember, this is from the Sarabande, but when you get to C string, to really shoot somebody in the public with the tip of the bow. Yeah, but that was really great. Now, when you do it in a scale, this is very common bows in Baroque style music. You don't realize it, but when you play it, or actually when I tell any students to do that, you start doing something that you simply don't do when you play Bach, which is to lift your bow and to place it in home base zone, I call it, where it's comfortable. You play and you glue the bows to the string. You play. So even if you change the bow when I ask you to do it first time slow, you preferred the what I call magical area where we create colors rather than the talking area where we can lift and speak with the bow. However, when I asked you to do it in a scale, it was a different story. You did this. Or would you ever hear, let's say, we'll go further in history of music, Mozart. Would you ever hear a violinist playing like this? No, it would be. I mean, that's the area of creation. And you never use it. So finally, to let you go, I want you to apply this when you play, to unglue your bow and to become much more Baroque player, which is, if you play on a Baroque cello with gut string and Baroque bow, it's very hard to sustain. Possible, but much harder. So if you play and you want to do 2 and 2, don't stay here and glue it. Go back. Now whatever you want to do, everything is here. You're telling me a story. Jam session of bowings. Or you can be a Baroque DJ, I like to call it. So, make me dance now, and then I'll let you go. Lift, lift. Good, good. So if you, bravo, if you play a recital, now all of a sudden you are smiling for the first time in the last 40 minutes. And I also smile when I listen to it. But then, as an artist, you move on and you play, let's say, and you can squeeze it on the cello, juicy sound. Great, that fits the music. There's much more sostenuto. But as an artist, you have the capability to speak different languages through music. And that's much deeper than I'm a great cellist, but I play everything the same. Okay? Bravo, Tsuf. Great job.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Annabel, wie geht's?
Gut, danke und Ihnen?
Danke. Tut mir leid vor gestern, das war... Okay, so... Yeah. So, we are going now, I guess, outside to the nature to hear you play Bach suite, the prelude from the fourth suite, yes? So let's all move outside and enjoy the prelude, and then I'll see you afterwards. Okay, bravo. That was beautiful. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Really beautiful, beautiful playing, and what I'm about to suggest to you is really just a suggestion, a matter of taste, especially with Bach. As I said in the previous lesson, for some reason I have 2 Bach today only, but I of course love Bach, so that's great. You know, with Bach there are 3 things that are sort of non-negotiable, and it's a sound quality, intonation, and sense of pulse. After that, it's like you go to the supermarket and you buy the best ingredients for salads. So once you have them, the sauce is different. You know, some people from Spain will put their olive oil or they will not eat it. Some people will add lemon and so on, and each one will have their own taste. That's a matter of discussion. But really, these 3 aspects, I have to say that your beautiful sound, beautifully recorded, intonation is great, sense of pulse. However, and that's, take it or leave it. It's up to you. When I heard you play, when you started, it was beautiful, really beautiful. You started, and I thought, after 3 notes, I thought, well, is this the minor suite that I've never heard before? Is this the sad suite that I don't know? And then I realized, no, it's in E flat major. E flat major, which is, you know, if you go through history, and not just with Bach, but you go to Beethoven, it's very heroic key, if you think of E flat. But in any case, besides the character, after a couple of bars, I started feeling that I'm hearing the same thing. Now, same thing could be great, like if you go and eat ice cream all day. Could be good, but you'll have a stomach ache. And that's how I felt. Like if you come on stage and you're an important person and you give me a speech, you give a speech and the speech is really dramatic. It's important for the people that are following you, like in a concert. If the speech talks beautifully and very dramatic but the same way, after a few seconds I don't believe you anymore. I mean, I need variety. If you would be, let's say, the Kanzlerin of Deutschland, and you come on TV in prime time, think about it, and you want to tell everybody something about like the coronavirus, you know, something really dramatic, 8 p.m., and you start talking like this. Hello everybody, I would like to tell you something really dramatic, really important about the coronavirus. I had coffee this morning, and by the way, you have to stay in a quarantine for the next 2 weeks. It's like, okay, screw you. But if you say, hello everybody, today I need to tell you something very dramatic. 2 weeks ago, you know, so you change the dynamic, you pause sometimes, but that didn't happen in your playing. And so the prelude became a piece by itself. It was, I have to admit, even though really, ice cream, gorgeous, but hard to listen to the whole thing. Now, this is just the entrance. Now I have to hear 6 dances with repeats. And then the Brahms sonata. And then intermission. And then Barber sonata and Ligeti. I mean, do you want to kill me? I need to be not just entertained, but I need to be with you. So, what do we do? What do we do? So, you can easily say, well, I'll do more dynamics. Okay. But I have something else to suggest to you. Sense of pulse. Your pulse is very clear, but you're counting in 8th notes. You're actually counting in 8. You play in 8. You play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the end of the first phrase, I'm done. I got the whole story. And then again. And then again. And when you get to the climax, I'm already thinking about, wait, did I buy milk? My wife told me to buy milk. Did I forget? Oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble. And I lost you. Really. So, but why the pulse is a problem? It's not you play too slow. You're ignoring what Baroque music is mostly about. It's about blocks of harmonies. It's not about melody. You're playing it with a trained ear and soul of Brahms' coloratura, which is beautiful. I have nothing against it. I'm actually coming from there. But to play Brahms, to play Schubert even, this is a phrase. That's what you do with Bach. Not the slides and the vibrato, the sustained long phrase that you create on really literally 8 notes. You're ignoring the harmony. So what I want to do is a little game with you. Now, take it or leave it. It's up to you. You play beautifully.
No, I agree with what you say.
Let's play a game now. We're going to do it in pizzicato, okay? And I don't know if this game is going to work. I've never actually tried it with the ocean in between. But we're going to try. I'm going to just play the bass. I'm going to play... And you're going to fill it up with pizzicato. I'm going to be the cellist of a quartet. You're going to be the second violinist or the violist, not the first. And you're going to just react to the kick I give you. I give you a kick, and you're going to react. That's it. Okay? Now, if I don't change the harmony, just go with me. Just one kick, one block. One block. We don't do in the block too much. We get a kick, or what Baroque people call the bell technique. It's actually a term in Baroque playing. You hit the bell, and there's a result. Hit, result. Hit, result. Not hit, stay, hit, stay. No. Okay, ready? There might be a little delay, but let's see if it works with the Atlantic Ocean in between us. Ready? And... Okay, now excellent. Now it's really good. It works. It works. Can you show me a little bit, tiny bit of emphasis within the word whatever? You're just saying whatever, 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 but you can say whatever, whatever, whatever. So you could do da ti da 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 ti da da ti da ti da 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 ti da da ti da ti da da ti. Yeah, just go somewhere else, but it's in the same whatever motion. Ready?
Yeah.
And yeah, but a bell, it's very good, but you cannot stay too long, because the bell, that's going against nature. If you do bang, no, bang, bang. I don't see if you can see me, but if you walk in a church with this smoke thing, yeah, the only motion you do is the first one. You do 1, ta ti ta 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 ti ta, 2, ta ti ta 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 ti ta, yam pa pi pa, yeah. So you have to feel somehow that that's what you're doing. You're hitting a bell. Now, let's count the bars, not the notes, the bars of the first phrase. Can you play now? And this is just for me. Don't do it if you don't like it after the lesson, but for me, in order to count the bar, we are counting actually in 1. So it will be like, and I want you to count out loud. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and let's see, when do you think the first phrase ends?
Mm-hmm.
Try. Four. 5. No. Just go on. 6. 7. 9. Yeah, exactly. That's 1. Yes. 8 bars. 8 bars, not 8 notes. Now, let's take a little phone number out of the first page of Bach Prelude for the 4th suite. Okay? It actually works. Mm-hmm. The second number, so the first number of our area code is 8. Let's figure out the second number. Yes, second number. Okay, try. Let's count together. Try.
1, 2,
3, 3, 4,
5, 6,
6, 1.
1.
Yeah, so first two numbers are 8, 6. The area code to this phone number is 86. Go on.
1, 2,
1. Okay, now we don't have time.
8, 6,
I tell you because 864. Now, whoever is watching us from around the world, I've never done it, internationally, but I do it with my students. There is a phone number. And I actually made a student of mine call that number to see who is it. But I'm now interested because I haven't figured out what area code is 864. Can somebody around the world who is watching us tell me? I would really love to know because we got the wrong number, as you can imagine. But I would like you at home, go through until the cadenza, until do diez. Go until there, find out the phone number. There is a sheen, there is a plan, harmonic plan that tells you how to hit the bell, which you didn't do, you played by eighth note. So now it leads me, again, you don't have to play like this, but now you played 3 phrases. And I'm like this, look how excited I am, I'm with you. We just started the story. 864 is the area code. Now, how to play it? When I asked you to play this, when you did pizzicato, it sounded like this. I always believe that any Bach suite that we play, we should try to play pizzicato. Just try. You will find out that most dances sound actually unbelievable pizzicato. In fact, you can go to YouTube and hear all the suites on guitar. It's gorgeous. It's natural. Yeah? So, for instance, of course, many cellists play. Which is beautiful, but it's not a dance. Which is more like pizzicato. So same here. When you played it short, you did exactly actually what Tsuf, the previous student, did. You went to your comfort zone, which is what I call the freak out zone. You go here. And you get glued to the string, but you miss the best part of the bow, which is here. Now, in order to use this part, and that leads me to the second point of our lesson, you need to activate an extremely important part of what I call the cello mouth, which is your bow arm. That's your mouth. This is not your mouth. This is what makes sound. You need to activate your tongue. Your tongue. What is your tongue? If this whole thing is your mouth, what is your tongue? What part of it is your tongue? The part that articulates.
The fingers?
Exactly. The fingers. Your fingers do not exist. Can you once put your tongue down? Did we do it in the lesson? I don't remember. Because we had some lessons. Put your tongue down on the lower part of your mouth and say Guten Morgen like this.
Guten Morgen.
You see? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So you can sing one note like ha 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 ha. You can sing coloratura without a tongue. But when you speak, which is what you do when you play Bach, when you speak, you need a tongue. So we need to learn how to activate your tongue. First thing I want you to do is put your hand like this, your right hand, and imagine that you're holding a heart, a living, without the bow, that you're holding a living heart. Now start pumping this heart through the main vein, which is your thumb. Start pumping the heart. Good. So, while we're pumping this imaginary heart, I'm going to suggest to you in our imaginary story, okay, that pumping in the blood would be a down bow and pumping out would be an up bow. Just go with me, it's just a game. This is down bow, up, down, up, down, up. Now, turn your hand and drop your wrist as if you're hanging on a chair. Good. Bravo. Now, just do the same thing. Down, up, and say it. Down, up,
Down,
down,
up, down, up,
down, up,
down,
down,
up,
up. Now,
down.
put the bow, middle of the stick on D string, hold it with your left hand, and hang your hand on the chair, imaginary chair, and still do down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, when you feel comfortable, pronate your hand towards the first finger. Pronating. Exactly, but keep doing the down, up. Bravo. Now, just go to a lower chair. It's the same chair. Go to a lower chair. It's not a different chair. It's not that you have to do this. No, hang. Great. Pronate your hand towards the first finger. And pump. No, on the stick. You can leave the stick now. You can leave the left hand. And start pumping. Through the main vein, I remind you, which is your thumb. Bravo. Now, when you feel comfortable, start adding another motion, which is pinky down, pinky up, which means string crossing. Pinky down is lower string, pinky up, higher string. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, which is the same pumping motion. Now I'm just telling you a secret. Good. Now, once you do it, every day is like you go to the gym, you do stretches. Now let's take the bow to an unknown area in your playing, and areas that you simply don't use. Let's go under the silver, God forbid. No, you use that too much. Here. Under the silver.
Oh.
Great. Now, let's pump. Let's pump our bow. Good. Take it a little bit out to what we call the balance point of the bow. And I want you to play a song that we all know. Can you try to play on G string? Please, with pumping motion or banana bow in the frog. No, exactly. Annabel, exactly opposite. Down, up, down. Up, down, up.
Okay.
Opposite motion. No. You're doing it with, no. Annabel, you do it with your wrist. No. The wrist is a reactor. It reacts to
fingers.
motion. It doesn't. The wrist does not create motion. It reacts to motion of what I call cello lungs, this motion, which is air, and the cello tongue. But you don't move the wrist. It's just a connector. So we move fingers and elbow. Activating the tongue. So I give you another example, then we go back to Bach because we don't have time. It's a great exercise. It sounds awful. I warn you, but the prelude of the first suite, if you take the prelude of the first suite and you place your bow under the silver part and you play the entire prelude separate bowings in the frog using only pumping, no arm, for string crossing and for up and down. It will sound, wait, sorry, my headphone is falling. So it's very scratchy, I warn you, because there's no lung, no air. Down. Only fingers. Try. So I don't want your arm to move at all. Put it under the silver part. Pump, pump. No. Annabel, exactly opposite. The first note was great. Down, up, down, up, down, up.
Okay.
No. Okay, Annabel, your up is not really, if it would be a heart, you did it before. You close it in, you just move it rather than open it. So it's a motion that you don't use. Yeah, you close on the down bow, you open your fingers. Exactly. You do this, you close and move.
Oh.
Close, open. Good, excellent. Yes. Bravo, that's it. Yeah, I'm happy. Good, that's the motion. It's like, I always tell my students, God forbid if you have a stroke and you forget how to speak. It happens to people. And then you go to rehab center, for like 6 months, and they teach you how to activate your tongue again. And for them, just if you can say hello, to put the L at the top of your mouth, it's a huge achievement. So I'm really happy with your achievement. Now, since we don't have time, I want to run like a few months down the road, and I want you to try to count out loud the bars of the phrase. So the first bar would be tom pi pi pa 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 pi pa 2, 3 ta 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 ti ta 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 4, and to play it with the tongue in the first half of the bow and lifting the bow. Just try. I'm not saying that you won't need to like it and to do it in real life, but as a musician, flexibility is extremely important. I want to see that you're able to do it. So let's see if you're able to do that. Okay? Try. And count out loud. 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Wait.
1,
1.
2, 3. That's all right.
Yeah, see, that's good. This speech is interesting. I'm with you. I might not agree with you, but I'm with you. I'm not thinking about the milk that I forgot to buy. Because you're paying attention to the phrasing via harmony, which is really a must always, but especially in Baroque period, where we think in blocks of harmony, not in melodic. I'm really generalizing. I don't want to it's not 100%. It's just the view of that kind of music. Now, you did it now with a lot of tongue, but with no air. So if you want this direction, you need to learn how to combine not just the ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta-ta to add the air, which is your elbow. So you did now. So if you have both, you're winning, at least for my ear and soul. So it's not just an ice cream all day long, it's a whole meal. Just you take me up and down and you tell me a story. And that's what we want. Okay, Annabel, so I think that's it for today. But a beautiful, beautiful playing. Bravo.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I think now we have some questions. Thank you for the enlightening and enriching lesson. Bravo. That's not a question, but thanks. Thank you for the enlightening and enriching lesson. Bravo. I don't know if it's a comment. Okay. You wrote the book about Casals' cello. How it come into your hands and are you still playing it? Yes, I wrote, oh, I don't have it here, damn it. I wrote along with Avi Katz, who is a phenomenal illustrator who lives in Israel, and with Marnie Fogelson, who actually wrote the text, a book about the cello because I wanted to reach out to young kids and not just, you know, when we used pre-corona time, we used to go to concerts and go what we call in America outreach. We go to play to old people home and hospitals, but I wanted to play for young kids as well and to make them excited, so we wrote a book that is about the history of the Casals cello, and it's told by the cello. Just wait 1 second, I'm going to get the book, because I did not expect it. So here is a book. It's called A Cello Named Pablo. A Cello Named Pablo. I love this book and I love reading it to kids. And it's beautifully illustrated by Avi Katz, as I said, and written by Marnie Fogelson. And the book is told by the cello. The cello is telling the story to the kids. And by the end of it, they feel that the cello is alive. And it's a really wonderful feeling. And they're so excited. They sit like this and they ask me, Amit, do you really think Pablo is alive? And I look at Pablo and I say, I think so. What do you think? Yeah, the whole thing. And then I play something for them, of course. So it's really nice. It's called A Cello Named Pablo. To your other question, if I play the Casals cello now, no, I don't. But I'm assuming it's a compliment to the cello I have now. I played on it for 6 years. What started as a 1-year deal ended up being 6 years, and it was an amazing journey. But now I have my own cello. It's actually a Thomas Dodd, but it's a beautiful English cello that I love. It was owned before by Bernard Greenhouse, one of my mentors. And I love this cello. It's in what we call mint condition. It doesn't have any cracks or anything on it. So it's really a joy to play it. The next question. The tailpiece on your cello is looking unusual. Why are you using this type? Because I want to attract attention. No, I'm kidding. This tailpiece was made by Fritz company, and the design of it, first of all, allows much more freedom for the low string. There are less stress than the upper string. So we believe, the person who made it and myself, that's why I'm using it, that if the C string is more loosened than usual, we might get a little bit less attacking mode from the C string. However, we will get roundness on the A string, and that's what I'm really looking for. So having different lengths for each string, having the C string the longest, allows the cello to breathe better. But as with every piece of equipment for instruments, we have to try it on each cello. Each cello reacts differently to those things, so I cannot say, you know, if you put it, your A string will be much more rounded and more overtones. Now, the fact that you don't have filling in here allows the cello, at least the guy believed them who made it, to ring more. And I hear it on my cello, so that's why I have it. Third question. The cello repertoire is quite limited in comparison with piano or violin. How do you cope with this limitation? Well, you know, I once, when I, many years ago, studied with Greenhouse, I once felt the same way, and I came to one lesson with this piece. With the Mozart violin sonata, I really wanted to play it, and I played it for him and we worked on it, and I really enjoyed it. I played with piano, but then he said, Amit, you know, we have so much repertoire, so much. First finish it, and then go on. And then I started looking. I mean, yes, we do have 10 famous concertos, okay. But we have so many pieces that are sort of unknown, unfortunately, and they're just simply beautiful. So I haven't finished that journey of playing all the cello pieces that I think I should. So I don't feel limited at all. In fact, even going back to Dvořák or Bach suites or all those pieces that we play so many times, there are such masterpieces that I never get limitation of imagination or ideas or thoughts or knowledge to implement in them. So I really don't feel limited with our repertoire at all. Okay, 864 is the telephone code of South Carolina. Oh my God. Okay. Where do you teach during the year and how many students do you have? During the year I teach at Peabody Institute, Peabody Conservatory in Baltimore. We just last night lost a great legend figure in our school in the world of music, Leon Fleischer, who passed away at age 92, and I was honored and privileged to work with him closely for the last 17 years. Peabody is the oldest conservatory in America, and I have to say that I'm really lucky to work in such an institute, and especially in these hard times where nobody knows where we're going. And in fact, the next semester we're going to teach entirely online, but the entire atmosphere in the school is that innovation and change is part of what we do, and we are sort of prepared for this. And taking our students on that journey is not so complicated, I feel, in our environment, in our school. So I'm very pleased to be part of it, and I have 14 students in my class, which is a full studio, and yeah, that's my bread and butter, as we call it. I guess last question, do you play chamber music? Of course I do. So the term chamber music is a little bit sort of irritating for me, because chamber music, you know, it means music that is played in a room. Okay, I just played Bach suite. Is this chamber music? I think any kind of music is chamber music, which is listening to one another. Even when you play Bach, you have to listen to different voices, different notes, but especially when it becomes one more than one player. If it's two players in chamber music, playing Shlomo with 120 people behind you is chamber music. What is the difference between understanding that playing with a flute or clarinet in Dvořák concerto or in Shlomo, or playing with the first violinist in a quartet? What is the difference? There's no difference. So I don't like to categorize this kind of music. As a musician, you play music. Music means a language that requires listening. That's it. So I play music, yes. האם אפשר להשיג את הספר בעברית? Can you get this book in Hebrew? Unfortunately not yet. We are working now on a Spanish edition of the book, and it's already the third edition, I have to say. And we don't have it yet in Hebrew, but I would love to. If you're interested to hear and to look how it sounds, and to look how it see and to hear how it sounds, you go to YouTube, and I was honored one time to visit NPR here in America and to read the book with the illustrations following on YouTube. So that's available on YouTube for you to see if you're interested to have it. I, as I said, always enjoy to give it as present, to leave it in a kindergarten, to leave it in an elementary school, to give it to grandparents to read for their kids. So it's a big pride of mine. Okay, guys, thank you so much wherever you are, and thank you to the students. Very beautiful playing and high level. And thank you to Keshet Eilon for coming up with this solution, this amazing technology and technique and ability to share what we do in Keshet Eilon every single summer with the world. So thank you Yitzhak, thank you Gilad, thank you Vadim, thank you everybody in Keshet Eilon. We miss you, and I hope next year we will actually be in Kibbutz Eilon in Israel. Hugs to everybody.